Does McCarthy, he's the veteran coach now, right, in this division, does he make the Cowboys the favorite in the NFC East?
No. Doug Pederson makes the Eagles the favorite in the NFC East. Like, I can't believe, I know he's not a new hire, Doug Pederson, but you know how I'm going at Carson Wentz, or it seems as though I'm going at him? I'm always saying he's a top 15 quarterback. Arguably 12, or if you want to go out on a limb, 10. If Dan Orlovsky says you're top 10, you know it really, and that means Wentz is like 12 to 15 because he's his biggest booster. But
he only played the position.
But what I'm saying is Dan admittedly is in the bag for Carson. He loves Carson Wentz and says he's top 10. That gives you an idea. Look, it's not even about that Wentz is better than Dak, let's say. It's not even about that. Peterson won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Followed that up with another playoff run where they go to Soldier Field when everyone thought they were toast and beat the team a lot of people were picking to get out of the NFC that year at Soldier Field, and then went to New Orleans. And, you know, a receiver turns his head at the right time, and maybe they're beating Drew Brees and them in the Dome. That was with the backup quarterback, right? 2 consecutive seasons. And then this season, Carson Wentz, they're in the playoffs, goes down early. It was a 17-9 game with a 40-year-old backup who'd never been in a playoff game and couldn't move anymore. Peterson is an absolutely elite head coach. There's Belichick and everyone else, right? But in that tier right under Belichick, I'm putting Peterson. I would not put McCarthy. And when you look at the Eagles roster, everyone's talking about the Cowboys. No one was more banged up this year than the Eagles, who may have the best roster in the division anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. Peterson is the better coach. He makes this team better. And I think all the things that you listed of his accomplishments, what was more impressive of what they did at the end of this season, with no playmakers out there and with holes on their offensive line, which is the strength of their team, frankly, their offensive and defensive lines. With holes there and all their playmakers out, they managed to put together a really impressive run, granted against non-playoff teams, but it was hard to do, and he's a much more impressive coach. McCarthy, it's hard for me to get excited about him as a hire. He might be good. I don't have a problem with people getting a second chance because I think you could learn a lot of things in your first opportunity, but I don't think that it makes them a prohibitive favorite. He was fired in Green Bay. He didn't retire, and he was fired in Green Bay because they believe that they significantly underachieve. Like, the point there, whether it's fair or false, the perception on Mike McCarthy is that winning one championship with one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen is underachieving. So how adding him to this new situation makes them the favorite, I can't go out on that limb. I think the rest of the teams in that division, maybe not that good, but the Eagles, talented, and they're going to get healthy, and they have a better coaching staff.
I disagree with y'all, with both of y'all, because I think y'all looking at it all wrong. Y'all looking at McCarthy against Peterson, and I don't view it that way. I look at McCarthy as an upgrade from Jason Garrett with a level of talent on Dallas that the Eagles don't necessarily have available to themselves. Not to say that they're not talented, but if we've got questions about Carson Wentz's durability and whether or not he's going to even make a playoff game, all right, well, then that's relevant. If we're wondering about Deshaun Jackson and his future in Philadelphia, then that's relevant. If we're wondering about Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar dropping passes, then that's relevant. Whereas with the Dallas Cowboys, even though they had a significant amount of drops themselves, what are we paying attention to? We're paying attention to Amari Cooper's number not being called. We don't anticipate that will happen with Mike McCarthy. We're looking at Ezekiel Elliott not getting enough carries. He gets 8 or 9 carries for damn near 100 yards in the first half and then doesn't see the ball in the second half. We're not anticipating that with Mike McCarthy. So what I'm saying is that it's really not about McCarthy against Peterson. It's about McCarthy against Garrett. What is the difference between the two? And if the answer is that McCarthy is an upgrade, considering the bevy of talent that the Dallas Cowboys have available to them, then I don't think it's beyond a realm of comprehension that we can look at the Dallas Cowboys, along with the history of the NFC East, constantly being a dogfight, whether they're elite or mediocre. They all seem to be in those categories together. It's rare when you look at the NFC East and it's one team that's elite and then everybody else stinks. They usually all stink together or they're all competitive together. And I think that's what you have to pay attention to when you're talking about the Cowboys or the Eagles with the NFC East.
What
Yeah.
Stephen A is not telling you is, Stephen A, you're just hoping.
Yep.
Stephen A don't want the Cowboys to be to be middle of the pack. Stephen A needs the Cowboys to give everyone hope.
Listen, I think you might just be hoping, because I'm surprised Stephen A didn't jump all over you. I thought you were very hypocritical when yesterday we hear you arguing with Dan Orlovsky how Josh McCown led this team just as well as Carson Wentz. He's not elite at this moment. He can't take them to the Super Bowl. And then you pick the Eagles as the winners in this division.
Well, because we're talking about winning a division. Not get, like Carson Wentz, we saw a couple years ago, win through week 13, they had a great record. Then the next year, not so good. And then this year, against this NFC East competition, it's not just Wentz, but his head coach. Look, if you look at the different sports, of course, everything matters. Right. But like baseball is a GM league. The GMs make the biggest impact. Basketball is a player league. The players make the biggest impact. Football is a coach's league. The coach makes the biggest impact. And I think Wentz is better than Dak if they're both healthy. Just Dak is healthy more. But I think Pederson gives you a premium over every coach in that division.
So you're right that coach, relative to other sports, football, coach has a bigger impact. But if you're talking about the person or the player or the coach or the GM who has the most impact on a given game, it's the quarterback. And I do believe in Carson Wentz. He made me a believer. I was with you in saying that his only MVP season was with a team that was good enough to win without him. But what I saw from him in the last several weeks made me a believer. I think Dak Prescott is right on that level also. But this question is about the favorites in the division, which speaks to the entire organization. It speaks to the general manager, the coach, the quarterback, all the players, both offense, defensive line, and the playmakers, and the secondaries. If you put all that together, I think what the Eagles have there is more impressive and more intimidating than what the Cowboys have in their situation. They are certainly a good enough team and a very talented team, and they should have been in contention for the division, or at least run away with the division with all those other bad teams in the division. But I don't think that McCarthy changes. I don't feel any more confident. If I do marginally more confident than I do with the Cowboys with McCarthy than I do with Jason Garrett.
Stephen A, just admit that you need the Cowboys to be good.
We all do. Don't we all? Let's not lie.
I don't need it. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.